Welcome, everybody. Welcome to It Came From GenX. I am your host, alongside Ryan Fishbone Fisher. What up, my man? How are you?
Doing well, man. Good to see you. Good to see you over the weekend. Absolutely.
Yeah. Always good when we can do something on the weekends together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And hang out. And we got together yesterday with our absentee tonight, Mike Skinner. The skin bone is not with us tonight, but we were together yesterday, of course, with the phantom member of our group, Coach Cooper, John Cooper, at his house. Watch a little bit of afternoon football, eat some good food, hang with some great friends. We'll keep all those pictures to ourselves. I'll just put it like that. But it was a great time. So good to see you again, my brother. Skinner will not be with us tonight, and perhaps next week. We'll see.
Yeah, he's planning a family vacation. Yet another one, which is nice for them, going down to Florida, right? Mm-hmm. Visit some family down there. So absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm not in on this meeting because I was planning on going with him, but we'll talk about that later at another time. So we'll see. But we want to say hello and thank you to his son, Mike Skinner Jr., our producer, engineer, brains of the outfit, and also to Christopher's Dominic. Without him, we would not be on some of the platforms that you see, especially WMBU.org. And with that being said, tell them about the ball, Fish.
Yeah, absolutely. So you might be listening to us on Global Internet Radio, WMVU.org. As Keith just mentioned, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Just pull up the site, hit play live now, and you can check us out there. Also, there are other good content, music, and other shows they have available for you. You can listen to us whenever you wish on demand on your favorite podcast platforms. You can find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. Just pull up our show, give us a subscribe, and new shows will pop into your feed. You can listen to whenever you would like, all for free. Facebook page, YouTube, videos are on a YouTube channel. It came from GenX. All links to all social media can be found in two main places. Our Linktree account. Just look up Linktree. It came from GenX, and our page will pop up for you. Nothing to log into. Simply links to all of our social media. As I mentioned, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and more. Or our website. Just look up It Came From GenX, one word, .wordpress, one word.com. It Came From GenX.wordpress.com. All show information's there. Links to all new episodes, links to videos, promos, profile page.
Yes.
All that stuff is there for you. Check us out there if anywhere. You can follow us there as well if you wish. Follow our posts. You'll get an email when we post a new episode on Spotify if you prefer to do it that way. And if you like our stuff, tell a friend. And if you really, really like our stuff, they want to give us a couple of bucks here and there, and buy us a beer or a cup of coffee or something, you can check us out on our Patreon account.
I need drumsticks. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Keith needs new sticks. That's on our webpage as well. You can check us out there too. And we appreciate your support out there.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And also, please leave comments. We welcome your thoughts, your suggestions. Come on the Facebook page, YouTube, or whatever. We like to hear from you. I am thrilled to hear from any listeners that we have. I'm excited about listeners we have in Germany, Ireland, the UK, wherever. We are proud Americans, but we are about bringing people together, no matter where you're from, what you look like, what you believe, or whatever. So to hear about anybody, outside of our normal walk of life that enjoys this show, that is absolutely thrilling to us. So
absolutely.
Okay. So we had a little pre-production meeting, kind of a bevy of things to talk about. And, some of it's not necessarily a Gen X story. certainly not entertaining, but definitely needs to be talked about because it's important. And sometimes I think when you do any type of a story where you're informing people, you have to grab those ones that might not fit into your little box, and you have an obligation to talk about them. So, with that being said, Skinner's not here today. We'll start off with a little bit of sports.
Absolutely.
Okay, so big sports story this week, Bish. This one hurts me to my heart. It's not the first time, won't be the last. Of course, it caught more of my attention because of it being a football related story. But Las Vegas wide receiver Henry Ruggs III was driving his Corvette, and please make sure you listen. This is not a mistake. 156 miles per hour. Seconds before he allegedly caused a fiery car crash Tuesday that left a 23-year-old woman dead. Immediately, he was cut by the team and is now facing felony DUI charges. He had a blood alcohol content of 0.161. If you don't know what that means, he could light a furnace. That's more than twice the state's legal limit of 0.08. Airbags were deployed. The young lady by the name of Tina Tintor, Las Vegas, died with her dog. His girlfriend was also in the car. She was injured. She's still alive, but she was severely injured. He's also looking at charges of a gun possession under the influence of alcohol. The gun was loaded, and charges having to deal with his girlfriend too. Could be a second felony DUI charge. 22 years old. So this is has a Gen X spin on it, but I don't care about the Gen X spin. I don't care about anything like that. There's certainly no humor or anything in this. What gets me, and the only thing that matters, is there is a 23-year-old woman who is no longer here. And she's no longer here because of something terrible that happened that should have never, ever, ever happened. And it was so easy to avoid. That's the part that gets me.
Right.
I want to be clear. Anytime this happens with anybody, it should never happen. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I think it angers the average common working person when you realize the liberties that this 22-year-old had, the freedoms that financial stability can bring you, the laissez-faire lifestyle, the pampered whatever that being a multimillionaire brings you, and you don't take advantage of it in a situation like this. Somebody's gone. There's no coming back. I'm disgusted. I feel for him, but at the same time, I'm disgusted with him. I feel more for this young lady and her family and loved ones, because you could have done such a number of things to ensure that this never, ever, ever happens. And you did nothing of the kind. 150 something miles an hour and drinking alcohol. And you had someone in the car with you. Where was her judgment at, along with this? I don't know, but I'm just asking. I am totally disgusted by this story, man. Gee whiz, dude, the things I would spend money on if I had excess cash right now to make my life easier and safer. You don't want to think about things like that all the time. Boy, if I had money, I would pay somebody to do this and do that and do this. This guy would have been a scratch in the bucket with the contract that he has. I don't know what it is, but it's not important. It's something big. And he could have had a a personal driver, okay, Uber. I mean, whatever the thing is. This is disgusting. And any young people that listen to this show, I urge you, please don't get captivated by the Fast and the Furious and all this stuff that we see on TV that has no responsibility of the message that it sends. People's lives are at stake. And right now, this man's life is ruined, but not as ruined as the family of this young woman who is no longer with us.
Yeah. Can't say much more than that, brother. It's like you say, he's got, when you're an athlete like that, you have resources available to you that, the average person may not. Certainly anybody can call an Uber for not that much money, but you're right. I think we were talking about it before. I think the NFL even has services where they'll pick up their players and get you home safely and all that type of stuff. No reason to be out driving at all when you're that drunk, let alone that quickly. So, yeah, it's a real shame. I guess if there's anything at all that you can hope for out of all this, it's just this will definitely be an example that the NFL will use with its younger players for probably here on out, just to remind them and plead with them all the things that you just said. So if there's any hope for this poor lady's leg, partially, I'm sure she has family and loved ones and all that, obviously, but from maybe you would hope the loss of her life might save others in the future by creating a teaching moment. But what real shame.
Yeah,
inexcusable.
I love that word you use, plead, because obviously these young men are adults. You can't make them do something,
right?
But I don't have a clue what goes on in the NFL when these young people come into the league. Only what we read and hear about. But I remember years ago hearing about some young NBA player, doing something stupid. I can't remember who it was, but just really ignorant, stupid. It's really easy to sit back and judge and, call them names, ghetto millionaire, and all these other things. But Magic Johnson made a really good point, and he was basically like, look, you take these kids from these rough backgrounds, which that encapsulates a lot. We're not going to go into all that, but just think about it. And all of a sudden now everything is at their fingertips.
Sure.
That's a heck of a life change.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's hard to handle for a lot of people. Okay. Sure. Everything right now that at a whim, you can have it. Not only does the money provide, but the fact that you have fame. You got sycophants and suck-ups all around you, eager to please, not to mention your bad influences. Those who are trying to get something from you, you're surrounded by vultures, So he said, you can't just blame these young people. And if you don't have anything in place to help them make that transition from survivor in the hood to a multimillionaire, responsible citizen. And he helped, if I'm not mistaken, get some programs together where they had classes for these young NBA players to come to. I thought it was just the greatest thing ever. Now, I don't know if anything like that goes on in NFL, but there has to be some sort of change right now. Something has to spark from this, because the part of the story that gets me with Henry Ruggs III is the fact that this guy didn't want any help. You know why I believe that? He was going 156 miles an hour, Fish.
Yeah.
He wanted to drive like that.
Sure.
I don't know if it was to show off his car or whatever. You don't just accidentally get up to 100. So, first of all, why is there a car going that fast? I don't even know. That's crazy. There's no Autobahn here. So he wanted to go that fast. Decided drinking was not a precursor to saying, hey, maybe not tonight, and did it anyway. And it cost dearly. So
absolutely. Yeah,
wow.
there was a time my dumb ass, this is several years ago, I had a Camaro. Same trying to impress some girl, riding the car. She wanted me to. I took it up on Route 8 in a small stretch.
Yeah.
Late at night. I got it up to 90 some miles an hour, and I realized I was scared to death. That was it, just for a moment.
I know what you're saying. Yes.
And I said, "There's no way I'm ever driving that fast in my life
because
ever
in a
again."
Second, it could have been.
That's right. It's frightening.
Right.
I'm like, and in my head's just like, you're being a total moron right now.
And I want to be fair.
Yeah.
I want to be fair. I've done stupid stuff. You know, in my youth, I've done stupid stuff. Back when I was young and used to drink, there was moments I shouldn't have been behind the wheel.
Yeah, me too.
I understand all that, and I want to be fair. We've all done some dumb things, and I don't want to excuse that. Because I don't want to say because our situation was different to Henry Ruggs, it makes a difference. All I'm saying is, when you have the ability to make sure that this never happens in your life, when you have the resources to make sure that it never happens, and you go the total opposite direction by going at unheard of speeds, you know, that we couldn't achieve if we wanted to because we don't have that type of vehicle. It's really, really egregious. So I don't want to, you know, point the finger or be, you know, judgmental, holier than thou, whatever you want to call it. I certainly have done some dumb things in my youth, and I thank the good Lord that I didn't kill myself for anybody. You know, I've left some clubs I shouldn't have been driving, and things like that. But in this day and age, we've had enough tragedy. We should know better, especially when young people are coming into a situation where a 22-year-old can purchase a car that goes 150 miles an hour. There should be some very strict protocols involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, not the most nice story to start off with, but I wanted to get that out the way. So let's revert a little bit, kind of lighten things up a little bit. I said something in the pre-show. The shirt, dude. You got to talk about the T-shirt. For those of you listening on the radio, man, this is a classic. Go ahead and tell them about it, Fish. Because we're talking about cars.
Yeah, I'm wearing like a retro logo shirt, the Plymouth Duster. That was my first car after graduation. So my parents were driving down Main Street in downtown Akron. There was a car dealership over there and this car was sitting there. It was a 1974 Plymouth Duster. This color, it was like a Carolina blue with like a navy blue stripe, and it had the white vinyl top. The car was from North Carolina, no rust. And the interior was practically mint condition. It was really a nice car, and I picked it up for, at the time, around $2,000. Okay, it needed a little bit of work and stuff, some transmission work and all that. My dad had a friend that fixed it up. Anyway, man, I loved that car so much, and I had a lot of early cruising years in that Plymouth Duster, and then.
Good.
No, I was just saying. Then one day, coming home from Akron University, going to visit my girlfriend, actually going to visit her, in a rush, middle of the afternoon, didn't pay attention, too much of a hurry. I ran a red light on East Exchange Street up there, and I got hit by a trash truck.
Wow.
Lucky to walk away from that. Honestly, I still have scars and excess bone in my shoulder from that accident. Totaled it out the car. My own fault. Just not paying attention, too much in a hurry and goofing off, whatever. And it was gone as quickly as it came. But for the time that I had it, I really enjoyed it. And it was, a lot of fun.
Now, my story is so different from yours. Plymouth Duster was my first car out of high school as well. I think it was yellow, if I'm not mistaken, except mine never made it out of my parking lot. We had some issues with it. I don't know what was going on. Never got it fixed. I spent many winter days sitting in it with my friends, smoking cigarettes and drinking at our apartment complex. It was a great place to hang. but it never ever made it off the line. Never drove it one single time, man. That was heated. So that's my clip. But it's a classic shirt. Appreciate you wearing it, talking about it, and sharing that story with us. Okay. All right. So anyway, moving on here. Not too much else to talk about in sports. Of course, we did mention the Aaron Rodgers situation. And I think that's worthy of talking about, glossing over, because it's kind of a sports, but more of a world news story as well.
Sure.
So Aaron Rodgers, obviously, he didn't play yesterday. He didn't play because he's in trouble. That is still yet to be seen. But he played because he simply was contracted COVID. But the controversy stems from the fact that when Aaron Rodgers was asked point blank about being vaccinated, and he said, and I quote, "Yeah, I'm immunized," which was a very nice slide play on words on his side, and led everyone to believe, obviously, that he had been vaccinated. Now, Aaron Rodgers is under a lot of heat. He has been lambasted by a lot of talking heads. My own Terry Bradshaw recently really roasted him. And he might be disciplined by the league. And I want to talk about the story because there's a couple of angles I think are worthy of being talked about. I know you have your points of view. But one, I want everybody to understand that this is not, because I heard somebody say, well, it's his body and blah, blah, blah. This is not the issue. It is not the issue at all. Aaron Rodgers has a right to believe how he wants to believe and, make choices about your body. I understand all that. You can argue that, debate that, or whatever. But Aaron Rodgers is in trouble because he lied and misled everybody. And I think it's not cool at all to do it. And you spent how many weeks in people's face, different players of other teams before games, after games, breathing in their face. Who knows when you had contracted COVID? Now, all these people got to watch themselves. And I think that was pretty lame for the current MVP, elder statesman of our football, of our NFL. This guy should know better, and shame on him. Fish?
Yeah, it's very simple. I love listening to PTI podcast on ESPN. And I was listening to the Friday episode actually today, and it's not one of the normal good, but anyway, some guy on ESPN said it very well. He's like, you can't play the victim card here, Aaron Rodgers. No. You can't turn around and say that you're going to be canceled on one side and praised on another side politically and all this crap. No, he said it best. Whoever this guy was on ESPN, I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now, but that he could have cleared this up in August when they asked you point blank.
Was it Wilbon?
No, it wasn't Tony. It wasn't Wilbon or Kornheiser. It was It was a guest. Yeah, one of them was out. Yeah. But he's a regular fill-in, not fill-in Frank. That's another guy. But anyhow, all Aaron Rodgers had to do is say, "I'm not vaccinated. I don't believe in it. Whatever. There are other protocols that they're not forcing players to get vaccinated, but you have to maintain testing, which apparently he has, and this and that and the other. But just say you're not vaccinated. But then you have to follow the rules. If you're not vaccinated, they have a certain. You have to wear the mask. You have to do this. You have to do that.
What was so hard about that?
Well, it's he probably just didn't believe in the protocols for not being vaccinated. Didn't want to follow them. Felt that what he was doing was sufficient, and like you say, you put other people at risk and all that type of stuff as well. You think more about yourself than your players and those around you. Again, if you never want to get the vaccination, if the team doesn't make it a mandate, fine. But you get just whatever the rules are, follow them. That's it.
Okay. What about this, Fish?
Yep.
How hard do you think the NFL or the Green Bay Packers should come down on Aaron Rodgers? Is something should blow over, or should be an example? What do you think?
I think there's probably going to be some fines. I think he's definitely going to get fined. I think the team's probably going to get fined. They're definitely investigating to see if they knew that he truly wasn't vaccinated or not. And if it comes out that somebody in the team, if the management knew that he was not vaccinated and not following protocol, right?
It's called a medical record. How could you not?
There should be example. There should definitely be an example.
Yeah, I personally think it should be somewhat severe. We're talking about risking not just people's health and possibly lives, but organizations.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You could single-handedly crumble an organization.
Absolutely.
Hitting the right person. And I don't, there should be no room for that. Like, I'm not questioning anybody's beliefs about the virus or the vaccine or anything, but just come out and say it, hey, this is how I feel, but out of respect for others, I'll wear the mask and follow the protocols. But I'm just like, this is that's all you had to do, man.
Yep. And you think about even just yesterday, right? So he got sick on his own and he could not play. His team lost the game.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, if it comes out that, what happens, you knock out a few linemen because they got sick or they have to quarantine or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You could easily cost your team a couple of victories. And this year in the NFC, as we know, it's very competitive. I mean,
very competitive.
One or two games very easily could be the difference of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And a lot of teams have one or two losses in the NFC. So, yeah, you really you do a lot of harm there by just not wanting to follow the rules. It's really simple as that.
And I think he also makes it harder on the rest of the world because when we have all these different opinions and problems going on with the mask mandates, and I want to make sure I use the word mandates in a lot of areas, not laws or rules, but in some places it is. But you make it hard when we see somebody center stage in the public eye do something like this. You know what I'm saying? It affects us all. It trickles down, and really, this is a real black eye on Aaron Rodgers. So very, very disappointed in him. He's been accused of narcissistic behavior over the years, and this certainly did not help any. So,
yeah, you think about his future too. It's like you can't play forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then what does that do to potential? It'll probably blow over time. I don't know, but he certainly could be costing himself future opportunities by this, dumb behavior. So we're not saying he's dumb for not believing in the vaccine. We have our own opinions there.
Right.
So we're clear. Like you say, it's just about not following the rules and putting other people at risk. That's what we're talking about here. So
right. Yep. Okay. Well, that's enough for sports, except I do want to point out that I am wearing my beautiful charcoal Pittsburgh Steelers hoodie that I got from China. It took about 6 weeks to get here, but it was worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't see it, those using the radio, let me tell you, it's gorgeous.
All except the Steelers logo. It's pretty nice.
Everything but that, huh? All right. Okay, so how about we sidestep into a little bit of music news?
Sure.
Okay, so got a whole lot of music stuff going on today. But as I was looking at this day in music, I was looking at the birthdays that kind of caught me. Some of the birthdays were, people we haven't heard from in a long time. Happy birthday to Minnie Riperton, if you remember that name from way, way back. Great soul singer. She did a great song, Stevie Wonder, Loving You.
Mm-hmm.
She died in 1979. Great voice. Bonnie Raitt, born 1949. Great country blues singer, songwriter, and slide guitarist. I don't think she gets enough credit for her slide guitar. And Ricky Lee Jones, and the name Jack Osbourne. So, Jack Osbourne, this is his birthday, 1985. We were sophomores, if you will, high school. And I started thinking about Jack Osbourne. And, Jack kind of got dealt some rough cards. Of course, he is the son of the famed heavy metal singer, crazy man, Ozzy Osbourne, who is notorious for a number of things. Of course, he made his bones in the dark metal band Black Sabbath, went on to have an unbelievable solo career, did some outrageous stunts. He's known for biting the head off of a dove, a bat, so on and so on and so on. And of course, the Osbournes, who really taken a lot of credit for one of the very first reality shows, the Osbournes, gave us insight to how Ozzy lived and his family. We got to meet his wife, Sharon, for the first time, and his 2 kids. Jack was young, looks a lot like him. But as they have grown up, Jack certainly has not shown any major talent, following his father's footsteps. And that can be hard on a kid. You know, you want to be your own person, do your own thing. And if you're not doing what your parents did or doing something great, you get called a failure, you know. So I don't want to call Jack that in any stretch of the imagination. If Jack's happy, I'm happy for him. But it just got me thinking about, wow, you know, some of the people we grew up with now have kids. I'm watching football now, and I'm hearing names, Fish, I used to hear when I was a kid, like,
sure,
wow, so-and-so the second, you know, and like, you're kidding me. It's kind of amazing, you know. I'm watching Ohio State playing Penn State the other day, and they're like, Marvin Harrison Jr., like, what? You're kidding me, you know? He's with Joey Porter has a kid on Penn State, you know. I'm just like, this is crazy. So I started thinking about, you know, some of the great movie stars or sports stars, whoever we grew up with, now who have kids who have either equal or excel past superstardom that their parents had. I thought it'd be kind of interesting to name a few and talk about them. So one of the biggest names on the list that I thought, because there's nothing bigger in the world than being a movie star. When you're a movie star, boom, you have made it. All the glitz and glam. You're nominated for Oscars. You get the makeup deals or the clothing deals, all that type of stuff. And man, is there a bigger movie star than Kate Hudson and what she has done? And Kate grew up with two huge parents. Goldie Hawn, America's sweetheart for years. Excuse me. And of course, Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was the action star before there was the action star, you know, if you will. Sure. So I thought Kate Hudson was a great example of someone who, you know, didn't grow up using, you know, you didn't hear the Hawn name or the Russell name. She kind of did her own thing, but she's made her own way. She can act. She's charming. She's beautiful. And I thought she was really, really great. Any thoughts on Kate Hudson?
No, just, yeah, good actress. Enjoyed some of her movies, certainly. The one she did, she was on the tour with the rock band or something like that.
Oh,
I can't think of the name of it, but
that was great.
Yeah, definitely talented, beautiful, talented, absolutely.
Okay, another one of my favorites too is Zoe Kravitz. I think she's gorgeous. Daughter of Lenny Kravitz.
Sure.
And Lisa Bonet, Cosby fame. You know, don't get a rock star and a TV star. Don't get too much bigger than that. And certainly she's made her way. She's done some great movies. Of course, you know, near and dear to our heart, she was in the X-Men, one of the X-Men movies. She was in Divergent, which is a series I love, if you haven't seen that. And Mad Max. And I thought she has really, really, really did a great job of making her name, you know, doing her type thing. Hasn't done anything with music. Hasn't been much on TV, but she's a movie star. Zoe Kravitz, Fish.
No, yeah, again, another one. Great actress. Again, you know, beautiful talent, just making a name for herself outside of her famous parents. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
now I like when I come across someone who does things total opposite of what their parents did, and they make their name, because that really shows a little bit of independence. So Quincy Jones is huge in the music business. He's an icon, a legend. Of course, he and Peggy Lipton, you know, had a child, but their daughter Rashida Jones went into acting, television, and I thought that was cool. Now she's not a household name, but I thought it was cool to mention her. She was in one of my favorite shows for a couple of seasons. The Office is when I first encountered her. And I had no clue who she was until, you know, way down the line, I decided to look her up. Found out, man, that's Quincy Jones's daughter. But I think she is really, really cute. and going to do some great things to come. Have you seen Rashida Jones at all?
Not beyond The Office I could think of. But yeah, again, funny, talented, absolutely.
Now, one of the other big names, and I like this because not using her mom's name, but man, she's a spitting image of her, and she's blowing up in the same field. Kaya Gerber, Cindy Crawford's daughter, amazing model, and she is killing it out there, man. Have you seen her at all?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I looked up the article, like 50, different celebrity parents here. I'm looking at her right now. Yeah, she looks a heck of a lot like her mom when she was young.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This next one, I'm not a fan of at all. As a matter of fact, I go on record and say she pretty much disgusts me. But far as a success meter, nobody has done it better than she has. Miley Cyrus, who would have thought? Billy Ray Cyrus's daughter, killing it. Obviously, a child star.
Sure.
So television, music. She has a really nice voice. And, she's done some other things, some entrepreneurial things, but she's as huge as it gets, especially, I would say, bigger than her father.
Oh, without question. Yeah. Without question. Yeah. So she definitely rose to stardom with Hannah Montana on Disney, and she has completely moved on from that persona. Definitely created a whole new image for herself, whether you like it or don't.
And I never saw Hannah Montana grind on anybody. But
yeah, she's far removed from Disney, but
yes,
yeah, definitely has created her own thing and her own sound and everything else. So yeah, definitely did a nice job with her career, better than I would have anticipated personally. But yeah,
I thought the Smith kids were kind of interesting, Jalen and Willow, because though they've had a lot of success, and I thought Jalen Smith was great, especially in his younger years. He did some great movies with his dad, The Karate Kid, on. But I thought his roles were interesting because this is where Will Smith blatantly, I'm helping their careers. I'm bringing them up with me. I'm going to be in movies with my kids, and there's no shame in that at all. Absolutely, man. I'd give my kid everything too if I could. But I thought that was really cool how he worked closely with his dad, even though he asked to be exonerated from his parents. I don't, that's a whole other news story. But Will worked very, very closely with him in a few movies, and I thought that was kind of interesting dynamic.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Absolutely. I got one here for you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to hear yours.
So I never put two and two together until I just saw this article just now. Tracy Ellis Ross.
Yes.
She is on Diana. Blackish and other. Yeah, I never knew that. So
you're kidding? Yeah.
No, terrific actress. I think she's hilarious. I never knew that was Diana Ross's daughter. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that's another one.
Can sing at all.
No, I don't. I have no idea. But yeah, she definitely went completely, different, career than her mom for sure.
And I think she's really blown up to like the last 5 years or so. Yeah, she's really gotten huge. Yeah, I found that out a few years back. And I was like, wow. Yeah, definitely did her own thing, man. I'm a huge fan of hers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's terrific.
Who else you got?
There's tons of these, man. It's just there's so many of them. You got Ashley Judd, Angelina Jolie. I think she was on your list.
I
John Voight's daughter.
John Voight certainly, award-winning, well-beloved actor. And I think we have to mention Angelina Jolie because when you become like, boom, this is it, the thing. Men love her, women love her. You have to mention her.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so many. Gosh, it's just on and on and on. Carrie Fisher. Yeah, it's just a lot. So yeah, it's
pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, it's cool when the parents support the kids getting into the business or some version of show business. And I'm sure it's not easy to do, and it's hard for these kids to make a name for themselves. But it's very cool when they do. Kiefer Sutherland, God, there's so many of them. You go on.
Yeah, good list
for hours. But anyway, yeah,
all
very
right.
Cool.
Well, very, very cool. So that's all I have for music and sports, man. Boo, I'll slide it over you. A little bit of pop culture.
All right, man. By the way, you mentioned Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz himself was the
That's right.
son of
Roker.
Roxy Roker from the Jeffersons. Yeah, absolutely.
Great
Yeah,
catch. Absolutely.
yeah. So you got another generation picking it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you mentioned Angelina Jolie, so that's a nice lead into. We'll talk about some world news and pop culture stuff here. We'll kind of go back and forth a little bit here, but certainly Angelina Jolie is one of the stars of the new movie, The Eternals, a new Marvel movie, The Eternals.
Yes.
Have you seen it yet, Keith?
I can't believe that I'm sitting here right now and we can't talk about it because I haven't seen it.
I haven't either. We got it. We'll go check it out.
Yeah, it didn't work out for me this weekend, and I am trying to find space to go see it. I just found out some of my classes got canceled tomorrow, so I might do that tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, there you go. It definitely did well at the box office so far. It has, let's see, over the past weekend, it grossed 71 million in the North America box office. It's earned 90 million international and 161.7 million globally so far. So, well,
Wow.
the reviews aren't the best, but it's the fourth best domestic debut of the pandemic era, just behind Shang-Chi, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the other ones were. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, so doing well. And one of the things making the news also beyond certainly the big blockbuster is that the movie has been banned in several countries, including Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar over a same-sex relationship in the movie.
Is it QATAR?
Yeah.
Qatar.
Thank you. So there's a gay, so I guess there's a gay superhero in it, and apparently has a, whatever same-sex relationship. And Angelina Jolie did praise Marvel for keeping the scenes in the movie versus, cutting them out just to make more money overseas in these countries or whatever it is. So I don't know. Any thoughts on Eternals? And obviously you're going to go see it, but any thoughts on the gay?
I do have some thoughts I want to talk about.
Ahead, please.
You said about the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I'm interested in. Who gave it the bad reviews? Because I think this is where the rubber hits the road with the Marvel movies. Any average person knows who, like let's talk about DC movies, right? Every average person in America knows who Superman is when you see him, or Batman, Wonder Woman, even Aquaman, depending on what version you see, right?
Yep.
And the Flash. Maybe Green Lantern, but how many would recognize, Black Lightning or Black Adam or someone like that? In the Marvel movies, you have the Captain America, household name, Iron Man, very recognizable. But outside of your diehard comic book people, who knows what a Celestial is? Who knows what an Eternal is? Who knows about any of these people where you really have to understand the story and the history? So, I watch a lot of people who don't know anything about comic books that go to watch these movies for the entertainment value. And that's fine. You're allowed to. You have that right, and that's great. But I feel sorry for them on a little bit on the inside. Remember, I used to think this about my ex-wife, like, wow, she don't even really know half of what she saw, because she didn't know the story. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I would feel bad for people who have missed so much because they don't really know what's going on. The little things that are said or the little Easter eggs that we catch, guys like you and me who have grown up reading and stuff. So I'm wondering now that Marvel's, we've exhausted the Captain Americas and the Iron Mans and all that. So now you got to start reaching for your Shang-Chi's and your Eternals and your more obscure heroes.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to understand the storyline behind them. So I'm wondering if these people giving it the negative reviews are people that don't really understand the story. And that was an interesting comment that I got from a friend of mine who saw it. He goes, if you know what you're watching, you're really going to enjoy it. And that made me think, like, wow, I bet you these negative reviews are people who wanted to see it just for entertainment and face value, but there has to be a level of understanding with that. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic.
I agree with you. I mean, it's at a mid. It's like a mid ranking on Rotten Tomatoes is what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. I mean, it's a great point there. I mean, if you're a Fringe fan, you don't really get it, then you're right. You may not find it as appealing as some of the more
Yeah,
popular heroes that you're familiar with. So, well, clearly the box office is speaking for itself here. So it's doing
that's
well.
true. Yeah.
I like the fact that it's introducing some of those fringe heroes. I like the fact that these are diverse heroes as well. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. So
Can't
do
wait to
you?
go see it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. No, that's all. Um, I'd see here. I'm going back and forth a little bit here. Story that we won't end on a negative story, so we got a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more time here. But just to mention, this was a big story in the world news this past weekend. So in Houston, Texas, this past weekend, there was a musical festival, the Astroworld Musical Festival,
Mm-hmm.
hosted and headlined by rapper Travis Scott. Uh, Unfortunately, there was they had a bunch of they had too many people in too small a space.
Wow.
And you listen to some of these kids that were in it, and as the rapper started to perform, people just sort of kept pushing forward to try to get toward the stage, and they had barriers on either side and all that. But there's a lot of kids that
Wow.
got kind of packed in the middle of all that, and some kids were describing the fact that they lost control of their own bodies in this
Yeah.
mass, and unfortunately, some kids died.
Oh my.
They suffocated and all that, and they weren't able to get out of there. So at least 8 people died in that mass of people. So, I mean, the rapper, to his credit, once they realized what was going on, the venue, they stopped the show, they deemed it unsafe, and he has come out and you know, spoke for his fans, just expressed remorse, and he canceled some upcoming shows and stuff. So, sort of not blaming the rapper at all. It's just you wonder what was going on with the venue. Were they prepared? Who the heck knows? But just unfortunately, some poor kids, lost their lives and all of
Yeah.
that. So I've never
It's
been in anything that scary in a
well, I
concert.
have.
I know you've mentioned before, so yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
And I'm sitting here listening to you read the story, and it is a horrific ordeal.
Hmm.
And you worded it perfectly. You lose control of your body. That is a scary feeling. And it was scary for me because it doesn't happen too much in situations being a big guy as I am.
Hmm.
And it was one of the first times where I felt completely overpowered by the wave and the force of the crowd. Here I am with my 110-pound wife at a Seven Dust concert at
Hmm.
Blossom, caught in a giant mosh pit. And not only did I get forced one way, but our hands got disconnected and she went to the ground. I've never been so scared in my life. And I don't know who this guy was. I'm so grateful to him, but somehow he was able to get down and get her up because I thought she was a goner. And I'm losing her, getting further away from her. It was the scariest feeling. I'll never forget that sense of powerlessness. I immediately got her out of that situation and said
Sure.
never again. So my only thoughts is, like you say, I don't blame the rapper, and the only people that have to be at blame is the promoters and the people in charge of the venue.
Hmm.
Because you can't keep looking at almighty dollar signs and know that there's a limit to occupancy
Sure.
for safety. And if you can't provide a better or safer environment than that, then you should suffer all the consequences for these tragedies. And that's all I can think of on that.
Yep. Absolutely. 100% agree. That's a shame. Um, okay. On a lighter note here, I just thought it was interesting. Saturday Night Live this past weekend one of the cast members, Ego Nwodum. Now she's been a regular member for a couple of seasons now. Very, very funny, but she does an impression of Dionne Warwick on this Dionne Warwick talk show, which it's actually pretty funny. But she did this skit this past Saturday, and the actual Dionne Warwick came out on the stage and participated in an interview with herself, which was pretty funny. Dionne is 80 years of age, and the two got up and sang a little number together and stuff like that. So I hadn't seen Dionne Warwick in some time, and she's well known these days for. She does a lot of tweeting back and forth at celebrities and stuff, so she's kind of well known for that. Yeah, absolutely. So she made some references to that and stuff. It was like they made a joke about, there's some rapper's name, and then she's like, why aren't people named just like Burt Bacharach anymore or something like that? Yeah, why you got to have these crazy names and stuff?
Right.
Yeah, so pretty funny skit. I don't know if you're an SNL fan or not, but
I am. I just don't catch it like I used to. Mm-hmm. But now that I have like Hulu and things like that, every now and then I'll binge watch some episodes. But I'm so behind over the years. But I still am. When I can catch some of it. And but skits like that, I love when the actual celebrity shows up. I love anybody who's willing to laugh at themselves and not take themselves too seriously, and even show up when you're being mocked and made fun of. I love that.
Yeah, SNL's done that. You've seen that over the years a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, I agree with you. That's pretty cool. Like the real Alex Trebek showing up on Celebrity Jeopardy, one skit, and was it Joe? I can't think of his name right now, but the short actor from Goodfellas,
Pesci, yes.
Joe Pesci,
yes,
showed up when the guy was imitating Joe Pesci, all the
that
time.
Was great, yes,
yeah. Him and Robert De Niro showed up for real, yeah.
Or me showing up at the party yesterday when you guys had the chair that I fell through on the wall. Yeah, exactly. That was great.
Absolutely.
You'll all pay for that.
I saw a good movie over the weekend, Keith. The Harder They Fall on Netflix. So it is a Western directed by James Samuel. I guess he's also a musician called The Bullets.
Okay,
that's right. Very comfortable, just like the TV set. But stars Jonathan Majors. You might know I know you know who he is, but some of the folks out there might know him from the Loki series, playing the new Kang the Conqueror. Idris Elba plays a very scary bad guy in this movie, as does Regina King. I like when if you can portray a villain in a movie, and when you're on screen, if you portray, you just make the viewer a little uneasy because something is going to happen. Both of them did that in this movie for me, between Idris Elba and Regina King. So just a good Western movie. And the interesting dynamic was virtually every actor, extra, everybody was a black actor or actress, which was fine. But to me, just watching the movie, that was an interesting dynamic, but it was simply a good Western. It didn't matter what color people were in it or whatever it was. It was just a well-acted, well-written movie.
I was sitting here waiting for you to make that comment. You said it in our pre-production meeting, and I really love that because, well, the way you had kind of said it earlier was that, they had purposely made this all-black cast in the Wild West, which was interesting and unique above it. But you didn't care. You enjoyed this movie, the acting, and the way it was put together. And I thought that was a really cool thing to say, because what it says to me is it validates why some of us get upset when more people of color aren't nominated for awards, when the ability is there to make production that entertaining. A person like you who didn't care what color people were, saw this movie for what it was and was totally entertained by it. You recognize the dynamic, and act like you didn't see it, but at the same time, you didn't judge it by its dynamic. You still judged it by this movie, this Western movie. And, I think if we could get more people to think like that, we would have to try to do so much purposely to get people to see the talents and the abilities of others, because they don't get a fair shot if they're put up against their white counterparts. I thought that was a really great dynamic. I appreciate you on that.
Oh, absolutely, man. So I tell you what, Jonathan, it'll be interesting to see when the awards come out. I thought you did a great job. I mean, it's definitely high drama in this movie. So,
yeah, I want to see a musical with an all-white Kool in the Gang.
Hey,
and I think that
why not? Why not? Why not? We'll get me, Skinner, Coop.
Oh gosh!
Find a couple other guys. We're gonna get Calderwood out there.
Don't do that. Don't say his name. You'll want a royalty. Oh my gosh.
Yep. All right, we got a couple minutes left here. I caught this article. Thought it was pretty cool. So this was. Let me find it here in my notes here. So this let's see, here it is. So it's a photo book called Between Girls, a new photography book by Karen Marshall that shows a group of friends over the course of 30 years when they were high school students in 1985, so right in our generation, to well into their adulthood in 2015. So she just took it upon herself when they were, her and her young teenage friends at the time, hanging out. They started to take candid pictures of moments.
Wow.
You know, sleepovers, hanging out, doing all these things, and pulled it all together into a photo book to show the just different shots of them growing up together. And I don't know, I look at some of the pictures online. Again, you can check it out. It's like I said, it's Between Girls. You can find some shots online to advertise the book and all that. But
I wanted to see that.
Yeah, I just thought, man, just to have the wherewithal, yeah, because obviously this is, in our time in high school, this, as we know, there's no cell phones.
We have some pictures, but every time you hear a story like that, you think, man, if I could have thought of that, we've been friends 30 years. Yeah. Think of the story we could tell through pictures.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we've got a few goofball pictures and things over time and stuff like that, but this is just her sitting around some of these pictures with a camera and just like catching a moment, taking a picture.
Things like that, and that's great. Good for her. That's awesome. We got a couple of parties. Me and Skinner's fat butt tipping over in a canoe, 20 years ago, things like that. But that's awesome. That's great stuff right there. Yeah. So young people, if you're listening to the show, with all the technology that you have at your disposal today, I urge you, document things, record things. It is a beautiful, time is fleeting. It never stops. It doesn't pause. And I'm telling you, I know you feel on top of the world right now, but you'll be 50 before you know it. It is a beautiful thing to look back and look at the story of your life, your friends, your loved ones. So use all of that stuff at your disposal right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got pictures on my phone. Some of them's just not organized.
Some of them are not legal, but whatever.
Well, that's probably true as well. Yeah, so you're right. If you run around and take all these photos of your friends these days, it's so accessible. Consider keeping those in an organized way, because like exactly what you said, Keith. Someday you're gonna look back and you're going to appreciate the heck that you got some of these pictures.
Yeah.
To help you remember certain moments here. So, kudos. Between Girls. Check that book out. I think it's a great idea, and it's cool to see someone from our generation thinking that way, and
it really is
preserving and celebrating her friendship. So, all right, well, we're almost right at the top of the hour, my friend.
Wow.
Yeah, it flew right on by.
Yeah.
So I'll say for Keith Porter, I'm Brian Fisher, and we've missed our other brother, Skinner. So hope you have a wonderful time in Florida with your family, relaxing and taking care of things. If he doesn't make it next week, Keith, we'll do it again. And
that's right.
Absolutely. So Tune in again next week. New episodes post every single week on YouTube and podcast platforms. And again, WMVU.org, Mondays from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Check us out there. And we appreciate your support. Stay strong and healthy, Gen X. And we will see you soon.
Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Stay strong, Gen X.